North America had a bunch of cup finals, and we'll go ahead and explain it to y'all for you guys to understand it. Um, Campeones Cup. Campeones Cup is this new tournament that Liga MX and MLS decided to start, where you have the champion of the MLS Cup winner, and the winner of the Liga MX, which I think, well, I guess it was easier for this past season because America won both the Apertura and the Clausura, but I'm guessing, well, Liga MX before they kick off the new season, they always do a Campeones Cup as well, where they have like the winner of the Apertura take on the winner of the Clausura, and then that's the winner. So I'm guessing that would have been the solution to that one, but. We had a Club America take on Columbus Crew. This isn't the first time they played against each other. They actually played each other recently in CONCACAF Champions Cup. So, kind of, I guess, a rematch of that. But Club America ends up beating Columbus Crew 1-1, going into penalties 5-4. America had 51% of the possession. Columbus outshot America 14-8, but both of them had 4 shots on target. The goals came in the 68th minute by Victor Davila of America and in the 77th minute by Malte Amundsen from the Columbus Crew. And in penalties, it was pretty fairly even. Both teams made their round. They also missed the same round, except for the final one. It actually ended up going to uh 7 penalty kick takers for each team. But the final penalty that was scored was by Nestor Araujo of Club America. Columbus Crew was the first team to take the penalties, and so Nestor Araujo, all you do, Columbus missed their penalty, and Araujo scores his goal, and Club America are the champions of the Campeones Cup, the champions of Champions Cup, um, for this new tournament. I think honestly, man, this tournament needs to be done like preseason. This will honestly be a preseason tournament. I think it's kind of weird that we're doing it now in September versus just doing it either in the summer or doing it in the winter time. But obviously, because Liga MX, their opening season, the Apertura, actually starts in the fall, and then in spring is the Clausura. So they follow a pretty similar schedule to of the leagues in Europe. And then obviously MLS, they start their season in spring and then obviously finish in the winter time. So I think that honestly that's just a sign from MLS to just, hey, maybe we should change the schedule up where we're starting in the starting in the fall and ending in the spring. Uh, I think that logic tells you that should probably be the way to do it, but especially if you're trying to do more and more things with Liga MX, because Liga MX, that's the format that they're doing. So I think there is going to be a time where MLS needs to sit down and just say, hey, we need to switch our season up. Let's start in the fall and then let's end it in the spring. So that way we can make this relationship with Liga MX a little bit easier. And then in some sense also make uh Leagues Cup make sense in some sense as well. So I think that, yeah, if you want to do this relationship with Liga MX, which I frankly don't really care. But I mean, I have been someone that has spoke out that MLS needs to reconsider how they're doing their seasons. And I've actually mentioned matching Liga MX in some sense. So this goes right up my alley into what I feel like this Campeones Cup would be a cool kickoff towards the Liga MX and the MLS season. So I think, and then obviously both teams are in. I mean, yeah, they're both in season right now. So but obviously Columbus Crew is kind of near the tail end of their season, whereas America, I guess you can say, also kind of near the tail end of their season because obviously the Apertura wraps up in the wintertime as well. So we'll see. But I thought this final was really entertaining. Columbus Crew, I think, showing what they're capable of to be able to compete with Liga MX, I think is obviously they lost, but it did go to distance, it did go to penalties. So I think that's a lot of positive if you're hoping that one day MLS can dethrone Liga MX. Though some may say already that MLS has done it before already, but like I said, when we start seeing these like cup finals, we need to start, for it to be validated, MLS needs to start winning some of these cup finals. Especially when you're going up against like the historic teams, the Tigres, the America, those kind of teams. When you can do it against those teams, I think it validates a little bit more. So we'll see what happens from there. But all right, the Canadian Championship, we have the Vancouver Whitecaps beating Toronto FC 0-0, going to penalties as well, winning in 4-2 in penalties. Toronto had 66% of the possession, which very much makes a lot of sense because Vancouver is very much a counterattack team. So possession isn't the end all be all stat to tell if a team is dominant or not. But Toronto also outshot Vancouver 15-7 and also outshot them on target 7-2. Which once again, if you're a counterattack, if you have majority of the possession, you're gonna have more shots taken, and even probably more. The fact that they also had just as many shots on target as Vancouver had shots in total should tell you about the impact of having the possession. But once again, nothing came from it because both of them ended up going to penalties. And I think that that's exactly what Vancouver was going for. I think they were going to defend, maybe get a breakaway and score one off of that, or hoping that they can defend well enough to get to penalties, and that's where they'll make their leave their mark. And that's exactly what it was, because Vancouver, I mean, the first round, both players scored their goals. Second round, both missed, but after that, Vancouver didn't miss a single shot. Toronto misses the next one. And obviously at that point, when it came to that fifth penalty taker, which was Bjorn Ing Udvik, he scored the winner. Once he scored that one, there was no need for Toronto to even take another penalty. It was over. The Vancouver Whitecaps win the Canadian Championship, securing a spot in the Triple C CONCACAF Champions Cup. So what a statement for Vancouver. This was a huge win for them to go up against Toronto. Arguably the bigger team in Canada, especially when you think of like the names that are out of Toronto. But still a big win for them, and they have at least a spot in the Triple C, and we'll see what they do with that. Yeah, I think that like, honestly, I did watch a few of the Canadian Championship games. It's a really interesting tournament. I think if anybody wants to learn a little bit about the football in Canada, go check out that league. It's a really good league. So I think it's an interesting league. If you ever get a chance to watch any of their matches, I say watch it. You'll be surprised at like some of the quality that league provides. But all right, the final cup, US Open Cup. LAFC beat Sporting Kansas City 3-1. LAFC had 52% of the possession. LAFC outshot Sporting Kansas City 19-14. Also had more shots on target, 8-5 of Sporting Kansas City's. The goals came from in the 53rd minute mark by Olivier Giroud from LAFC. Then Eric Tommy from Sporting Kansas City responds in the 60th minute. And then at that point in extra time, Omar Campos of LAFC scored in the 102nd minute, and journeyman legend of MLS Kai Kamara scores on the 109th minute to secure the US Open Cup for LAFC. Which Kai Kamara did have some strong words about MLS needing to put more of an emphasis on US Open Cup. Like I said plenty of times, me and Jose talking about it last week. It's just the coverage isn't great on this tournament. I think the tournament can be done a lot better as far as putting an emphasis on this tournament. But the league just needs to care. MLS just needs to care, and U.S. Soccer as well, the Lamar Hunt family as well, needs to sell this tournament better. Find a place to get the coverage for it. Like whether it's Fox Sports, whether it's ESPN Plus, whether it's CBS Sports, I be in sports. I don't care. Find someone that's going to cover this game where everybody knows this is where the U.S. Open Cup is going to be watched at. Like this is where I can watch the U.S. Open Cup game. This isn't where I have to like jump through hoops to figure out if it's on YouTube or it's on USsoccer.com or it's on CBS Sports for some odd reason, or Apple TV. like find someone that's going to have no problem taking the potential loss or gain from having the US Open Cup and have it there so the fans know this is where I can watch it. And have better promotion and coverage of it. So yes, I do agree. Like I said it, I in hindsight we should treat this like the FA Cup, but we don't. We treat it like the Carabao Cup, and I think that that is a big flaw that comes to it. If you guys don't, if MLS doesn't have enough energy for US Open Cup, the fans aren't going to either. So we need better coverage of this tournament. We need better marketing for this tournament. Because once again, this is where I didn't know when the final was. I didn't know where I could watch the final. I just found out that I could watch it on Apple TV. So yes, Kai Kamara it has a lot is very right on this. This tournament needs to be covered better and needs to be visible to the fan base. And so, but congrats to LAFC. They were in much need of a trophy. Having to go through consecutive finals and not being able to win what probably was a little discouraging, but to able to get a championship out of it now, is a positive for LAFC. So there is that. Congratulations to them. And those are the tournaments.